Hello, everyone, for another precious evening of It's the Vagina Monologue season at She Stands Tall Project. And we have another fabulous evening planned for you. And with one of the most popular monologue is what we will be doing today. And as we are waiting, as we are taking our steps towards it, I want to once again give a shout out to all those who are watching live with us, who are watching it as a recording and sending your comments and sharing your reflections and asking about, asking questions. And I really want to acknowledge that. Please continue sharing the monologues. That's why we did it live online, so it can reach as many women and men, out there, as many people. And before, I also want to invite us watching to just also take a pause um, for what's happening in Russia, Ukraine region, yeah, and to take a pause and to know that the monologues and what we talk about, violence towards women and children and men, it is not somewhere happened sometime. It is live, it's right here. And we have a part of our human family in war right this moment. And so, yeah, just take a moment of prayer to acknowledge making room for the unsafety, the fear, the anxiety, the numbness, the sadness, the grief, the rage, the anger, all that which is here in the field. And the helplessness that we might all keep meeting. Yeah. And sometimes I wonder, for me, the wonder is when I feel this much, how do I still show up in life? How can I smile? How can I be joyful? How can I do my normal life things? And that's the movement that we all find of the connection, and also that life is also here. And to own it, to feel it, give it place, and also showing up for those around us in our connection, to stay connected to ourselves and to others. Because these movements are also indication of loss of connection. And the systemic of that, what? It's not just this moment, but so many unfoldings to this moment. And we all have that in our lives. So Ukraine is not just there. If we could all also meet that conflict in our own self, within our families, within our systems, within our culture, within our land, and see how we navigate it, we'll also meet the Russia, Ukraine, and the US and the UK and all those other voices. We'll meet it in our own self. So, yeah, learning to be kind. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And now we also move into this space. Yeah, we also move into today's, and to also voice and also know that we can stand up and celebrate. And when we also do that, and we create safety and we create connection and find our own connection and safety and our own adult, mature, emotional nervous system, I know that it is also shifting something. It is also creating a ripple. It's also there. And so we hold space for all that is, and we move into our today evening of our 11th day of Vagina Monologues. And I want to read the background of this piece, which is Reclaiming Cunt. As in Eve Ensler's words, I have been traveling with this piece all over America and now all over the world for years. I'm threatening to create a vagina-friendly map of all the vagina-friendly cities I have visited. There are many. So this is a question for you to ask. Is yours a vagina-friendly home, a vagina-friendly city? Is it a vagina-friendly neighborhood? Is it a vagina-friendly garden or, park, a school, college? Yeah. And she said, this is my favorite part of traveling with this work. Wherever I go, women come up to me after the show to tell me their stories, to make suggestions, to communicate their responses. I get to hear the truly amazing stories. They are told so simply, so matter-of-factly. I'm always reminded how extraordinary women's lives are and how profound. And I'm reminded how isolated women are and how oppressed they often become in their isolation. How few people they have ever told of their suffering and confusion. How much shame there is surrounding all this. And how crucial it is for women to tell their stories, to share them with other people. How our survival as women depends on this dialogue. And then she talks about this one night in Pittsburgh, when after the show, a woman filled with passion rushed up to tell me she had to speak to me as soon as possible. Her intensity convinced me, and I called her as soon as I got back to New York. She said she was a massage therapist, and she had to talk to me about the texture of the vagina. The texture was crucial, she said. I had not gotten the texture, she said. And she talked to me for an hour with such detail, with such sensuous clarity, that when she was finished, I had to lie down. During that conversation, she also talked to me about the word cunt. I had said something negative about it in my performance. And she said, I didn't understand the word at all. She needed to help me reconceive it. She talked to me for half an hour more about the word cunt. And as I say that, I get goosebumps. She talked to me for half hour more about the word cunt. And when she was finished, I was a convert. I wrote this for her. And the first time, this is my personal sharing as Rekha Kurup, the first time I heard this piece, I was a convert and I love the word cunt. And I hope by the end of this, you become a convert too. And whatever, emerges, I want you to just flow with it. Yeah. And claim this word. So now we go into our evening reclaiming cunt.
I call it cunt.
I reclaimed it. Cunt.
I really like it. Cunt.
Listen to it. Cunt. Ka, 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 ka.
Heaven. Tackle. Split. Cute. Come close. Tough. Closed. Inside.
Ka. Then you. Then ka. Then curvy. Inviting shark skin.
And you. Uniform. Under. Up. Urge. Ugh. Ugh. And you.
Then Nog letters perfectly fitting together. And next. Wow. Nexus. Nice. Always round in uppercase.
Kun. 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 A jagged, wicked electric pulse and then soft and warm and smooth and kun.
Then tea. Then sharp, certain tangy tea texture. Take. Tent. Tight. Tantalizing. Tensing. Taste. Tendrils. Time. Tactile. Tell me. Cunt. And cunt. Say it. Tell me, cunt.
Cunt.
Cunt. Come on, all of you watching. Say it to me. Cunt. Are you saying it?
Cunt. Come on, say it. Cunt.
Cunt.
Loud, like get out of your seat, get out of your car, go. Cunt.
Yeah, that's it. Cunt. And so what? Cunt.
Yeah, so what? Cunt.
So did you say it? Did you all say it? Cunt. If you're still hesitating, just say it. Cunt. Yeah. Say this word. It's taking back our power of this word. Yeah. And giving it that sacredness that it calls, deserves. needs. And so I want to bring back the sisters of our today's piece, Malini. Hey, Malini. Malini is a yogini in a permanent fluid state and feels her learning never ends. Welcome, Malini.
Thank you.
And then we have Megha Naigi. Megan, I love reading in all the words. Megan Naigi is giggling womb, laughing vagina, swaying hair, budding breasts, daughter, sister, auntie, granddaughter. Welcome, Megha. And we have Yannick, an incarnated soul in a woman's body, navigating this lifetime in search of growth. So welcome, sisters. How was that? I know usually when you're in an audience, you would have heard everybody screaming back, but here you have to assume that I screamed. So you must have heard my voice. How was that?
Very energized. So I'm sure a lot of women and men out there screaming. I'm like, I'm pump up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, really pump up.
Yeah.
It was really fun. And I feel like, you know, cunt is fun, you know, it's not a swear word. It can be a fun word. So yeah, it was fun reading that.
Yeah. And I also want to bring something that we discussed earlier, right? About why this piece, why is this piece important? You know, we were talking about that before we started this why is cunt, why is this reclaiming cunt piece so important? Anything that opens up for you with this that you would like to share, any of you? Was this word known to you, like in your, like, I know that Megha and Yannick are from Mauritius, and Malini, you're from India. Like, I did not know this word till I actually went to US. I really did not know this word. And I heard even this word being used as curse, you know, on the street. But it didn't do anything to me because I didn't know what it meant. But as when I started working in high schools in the US is when I really learned how this word, when said to someone, is taken so like it's almost like a bullet fired at a woman. It feels like that to a woman to be said this word. And that's when I realized, oh wow, and how this word has been used to shame. So I didn't know that till then. Yeah. So I'm saying it because many Indian women might find not, you know, what's about this word. So yeah, so I just want to know how was it for you? Did you grow up or ever hear this in your social context? Yeah.
The first time I met the word, it was in an English literature class, I think when I was in Form 6. And we were studying the Tales of Canterbury by Chaucer, and he uses the word, but then I didn't know anything about that word. You know, so we were told what it meant. It was an old form, and we were told it was like very witty and daring of him at that time. But then I forgot about it, and then I somehow made the link.
Oh. Did
Yeah.
Yannick
It must be her connection.
It's frozen.
It's frozen. Okay, we'll wait for her to join back. Anyway, do you guys have anything to share? Till we
Word like in my probably I was like coming close to my 30s.
yeah.
Right away, it felt like a swear word.
Okay,
Yannick.
Yannick is here. Okay, so Yannick, yes.
Sorry, but
No, your connection, I think, was, yeah.
yes, I lost connection.
Yeah.
So shall I go? Shall I go on?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So I was saying yes. In Mauritius, we speak mainly Creole, or French. So I made the connection with the French word con, C-O-N, which means the female genitals,
Mm.
but which is mostly used like to insult a person again, but like to say that the person is stupid. But then it has become so normal to call someone a con, you know, and that people have lost the first meaning. Lots of young people, especially. And so yeah, there's the word con, and for an English person who says the word a lot.
Mm.
And once I heard him say, yeah, that stupid cunt, what does he take him for? You know, that cunt, you just a big cunt. And I was like, why do you have to use this word so much? Why this word? I mean, he kept on repeating, yeah, he's just a cunt. And I told him, why don't you use another word? Why don't you use the word, I don't know, the D word? We talk about the C word. Use another word, you know? And why do you have to use this word, which is not yours? Because it refers to a part of my body. It's my word, if I can say like that. So why do you use a word which is not yours, which you do not relate to as a human being, to insult someone else? Why, if you want to insult someone else using a word which refers to the body, use a word which refers to your body, you know? And yeah, I was, and then he explained to me that it's also very cultural, that it's like, of course, it's the C word, like it's I read it's the biggest insult you can say to someone, like it's really, really bad. And yeah, and again, the worst insult you can say to someone is to compare him to the female genitalia. There's definitely something wrong here.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That makes me like, yeah. I didn't even know this was used with
Wonder why.
men. No, no, go ahead, Malini. Yeah. I didn't even know that. Now that you would use.
Yes.
Yeah, I just saw in a British series. That's when I was like, oh, okay, it's used right,
That
left, and
expression,
center.
stupid cunt. Yeah. The
Yeah.
expression stupid cunt is like, this is what I heard first. Was like, cunt, you stupid cunt. Again, I feel like it takes back to this thing, like the vagina is so much wanted, and like I want to taste it, I want to know this, I want to feel it, and I feel it I feel her without seeing her. I've met her without like seeing her, and she used to be scared, and because I can't reach every vagina that I feel and sense, I'm gonna get back. For me, like right now, I'm sitting, I'm like, it's like, I don't know how to hold this, waking up in my body. I'm gonna get back to you.
Malini, you were saying something before.
I've heard it only in movies. Am I on? Yeah,
Yes.
I've heard it from in movies, and that's how in normal in interactions in school and college. I don't think anybody ever heard, in my circle at least, nobody used the word cunt. So in movies, I came to know that. But I would think, why would when I came to know the meaning of it, I would think, but why would a private organ be called as a gali, as a why would it be derogatory to someone? So that means is my private part a derogatory, is a like a mean, she's mean, so she becomes a me, a gali, a bad word. Why is it a bad word? Was my in I was more inquisitive about why is it a bad word. So recently I was talking about vagina monologues to a friend, and she said, "Big deal, yeah. Even haven't you heard? Don't be a dick." So I was like, yes, that's exactly my point. Why should people's private parts be uh, uh,
Words.
be a slang.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah.
like to put down someone in especially American movies, British movies, the worst thing to cunt, and they would say, it's in such a bad way, and
Yeah.
it's come to India also, thanks to all the Netflix and all the social platforms. I mean, it's inculcated so much. I mean, it was not there in the South. I don't think we grew up with
No,
this at all.
never, never. Not even Dick or any of these. I came to know all this after when I went to US.
Yeah.
Like Dick word is used for the male. It's used to refer to penis. I mean, Dick, and there were some other words, and it was same like Malini. What you're saying, I found it very bizarre. Like what? Why? What is that? Why would you? Like.
And if you see the web series today, in every second dialogue, they don't say a single dialogue without slut shaming the woman.
Yeah.
It's all about the mother and the sister and the grandmother, and it is almost it's it, it's not done. It's just not done. It's so derogatory to sit and watch it. And imagine if a 7-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old, they are thinking, oh, okay, this is normal. Now the adults are saying all this. So if he says it at 12, suddenly he throws it at you. Don't be surprised.
Yeah.
Because Netflix said that it's okay now. It's like someone says it on stage. I've seen so many comedians use it for laughs.
Right. Yeah. I
Kya
think.
re, kya re chutiya banayega kya? And
Mm.
people, ha 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 ha. Why? I mean,
Yeah.
something's wrong with that.
Yeah. True. Very true. What you're saying. I feel they should have this warning, like cigarette smoking is injurious to health. When someone is smoking in film, or wear seatbelts, I think they should give this also. When people use curse words to genitalia, they should put this. This is culturally insensitive, and but this we see this, and we want to say that this is injurious or something like that. The usage of these words are injurious to mental emotional health of peers, or some
Right.
warning has to come. I think it's time that we start really taking responsibility. We can't say cunt is using cunt, like how Yannick, you're talking about this friend who said using cunt is cultural. I mean, how is that? Like so many things like that which keep on creating the cycle of violence. I think we have to really start taking responsibility and recognizing them and saying it's not okay. It's not okay. Just like can't, it's not okay to even in dick word, or using it to shame. That is not okay, whether it's female or male genitalia. When there is so much violence and rape and abuse and all that everyone is struggling with, the trauma.
And
Yeah.
I think even women have started using it on women. So if
Yeah,
it's,
so
that's
much.
a worst gully, that's a worst slang that people are saying. A woman says to another woman, you're the B word. And
Yeah.
now it's
Just
shifted,
say it, bitch. It's not a curse word.
it's bitch. So now
Reclaim
it's
it.
become
Yeah.
like you are such a
Yeah.
cunt. You are such a. It was never there before, and it's
Yeah.
slowly seeped into our language, and it's normalizing this.
Correct.
People would say, "What is the big deal in it?" But when you think of the source, please think about the source.
Yeah.
You are actually talking about a private part, about a body organ, and it becomes a slang.
Yeah.
It becomes something to. So it's beyond my understanding right now. I really want to know the source of this.
Yeah. And what came to me just now is we have to just start using these words in the good context, in the positive context, in the, we have to just use it in really positive ways. My cunt is not feeling today, is a little sad or is happy or excited. We have to start using it. We have to start bringing these words, in our normal language as a positive word, as a word which really that we don't have to feel
Ashamed
Yes,
about?
Ashamed.
and I think we can make a parallel, with like the word black or nigger, which
Yeah.
at some point were considered to be insulting, but which have been very powerfully reclaimed
Yeah.
and which are now used like, like very strong identity markers, let's say. So yeah, that's, and I was also thinking about what Malini was saying about how and why we use words referring to our genitalia, which at the end of the day are sacred parts, are parts of our body like any other parts, but are also sacred parts of our body for their functions.
Yeah.
Why we use them for shaming. And it brought me back to that idea of how much we are disconnected
Yeah.
to our own bodies, and how much to bring down women we have made them to feel disconnected with their own body, and whatever is related, like, under the belt,
Yeah.
like we say
Under
we
the
have
belt.
an expression in French, like sous la ceinture, under the belt, is like considered as dirty or things you don't want to talk about. So it's all part of I don't know if it's religion or if it's some kind of culture, I don't know, but then yeah, there's a big disconnect between us as human beings with our bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I think it's the most prevalent permeating disease of humanity is this disconnect from the body.
Caring of the feminine, right? You fear
Yeah.
the feminine for no reason.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like just the language we speak, the swearing, or like it's connected to the genital and it's connected to the mom.
Yeah.
So like there's this word like leaky. It literally means like a vagina, but then we will say leaky to mama, like your mom's vagina.
Yeah.
There was this one woman who used to do that in my space a lot. One day I turned around, I was like, you're really right. That's what my mom had. That's where I'm came from. That's why I have. That's what you have. And I don't know what happened from that day. It kind of like changed something, but that's it exactly. And you were saying it earlier. Like you would have hurt someone, like strip that person naked out of any sense of worthiness, because it's like being. Worthiness is being. It's not have nothing to do with doing.
Yeah.
Hurt the mother, hurt there, hurt the beginning.
Yeah.
Because she's my beginning. She's our beginning.
Yeah. And that is something I think we have to really become be aware of, this movement of hurting the beginning. And yeah, and how, yeah, it's a how do we create more and more awareness around that, that yeah, it's very
I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, Malini.
It starts in school. As you're saying this, I'm taken back to school where I think where children have this little conversations about my mother being greater than your mother, and then your mother being no, she is, you know what my mother does. It starts from this very innocent kind of power play, and then as we grow up little by little every day, and then it comes to bringing in more power politics.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know if it's in my generation, when I keep thinking, how old am I now? In my time, when I was a kid, even my classmates, I mean, all my classmates, if I remember, not my college, my schooling, there was no gali, like this curse word was not there. We never did this mother, none of this existed. We all came from very humble backgrounds. I mean, I'm a KV, Kendriya Vidyalaya, army, I don't know what it is, but I sometimes feel which world was I kind of, which world was
We
I?
then showed up finally in our generation.
Yeah.
It
And I
showed
see
us,
that few years
It
later,
showed
it's because
our
what happened,
generation it showed up.
the textbook that I had for my English, my Hindi, my language, I saw how it was getting changed. So everyone who came after me did not read the textbook that I had. We had such powerful texts in KV itself, just in Kendra Vidyalaya, and then it all shifted. And what I saw was some of the things really shocked me. Like I was looking at some of the, when we were teaching in the slums, we were looking at some of the Kannada textbooks, like of government schools. There were these words, like which word was there? Yeah, really, they had these poems, these foreign poems, which had these things. And I was so shocked.
Right now?
Yeah, right now. When we were shocked at the time, my sister was, when we were in the school and I was looking at kids' textbook, we were teaching in the slums, and I was shocked at some of these things. Like in our thing, I don't remember there were any texts when we were growing up which had this kind of thing. And of course, it's not like we all were kids in our class who had parents we all, parents were struggling. We were in that collective. I think all of our parents were really struggling. They were the first generations who were trying to make something out of their life, So we were all from and then it shifted, I think, as it was. But this, I see this, and this how even in India, there at some point there was this whole shift in language and narrative. I don't know, was it to make us more modern thinkers or what it was, but a lot became this shift in language, which I did never experience in my time. Or maybe I was naive. I don't know what I was. I don't think so, because I was reading books at that time and I would think, oh, wow, all this exists. And I think at that age of teen, these words become very attractive.
Yeah.
They become a channel of anger, that because you're forming your identity, your ego is getting shaped to who you are. And then you are in this constant struggle with your family and you being yourself and they wanting to. And in that time, these words become kind of like, I didn't know, but I knew other words. But so I know if I knew these words at that time and I was in a modern convent English, that kind of education, if these words came to me, I would have been using them right, left, and center. I know if I had known all these words and I was in that culture, I would use it, because there's a power when you use this word, because the word has power. It's just like a bomb, right? Atomic bomb can be used for creating energy, or it can be used to wipe out an entire civilization, right? So it's the same. The words have power. So we can use it to destroy, or we can use it to receive power. So I think people do receive power when they use it. They take the power. It's like they're taking over. Power over, that we say in our work, right? We use the word power over. So these words are powering over others. That's how we use it, I think. Yeah, it makes you feel strong, because you don't feel strong. So when you use it, you feel strong. For that moment, you have power over someone.
Yeah.
Right? It's that any curse word, that's what it does.
Numbness that we have to women's cycle, like this numbness that we have to our own cycle, like women and the entire world have it. It creates like so much cognitive distortion and confusion.
Correct.
Like it goes mess. But what really strikes me, like I'm listening to all of you, like when we women use our own cycle as a way to shame other women, and then men use the cycles of women to shame men and women. Like simple example, like I've heard so many times women saying to men, and even men saying to other men, like, "Are you on your PMS? That's why you're going crazy." Like,
yeah.
Why would you say that? Why would a woman even say to a guy like, "You're acting weird, you're acting crazy, you're on your PMS"? PMS is not a joke. It's a cycle, part of your cycle. So even saying like, you're bleeding, but that's a guy, he's not bleeding. And if he's acting weird, there's something happening there for him.
So is that being used?
Like,
is that
yeah, like
from
at least in Russian I can say to use, like it's like part of normal language. But like even when women use that to always other women or men, I'm like, what are you doing? You're actually telling that person that you're being less right now.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying at the end of the day. You're being less. Stop acting as less. Because when you're PMSing, you're less. When you're bleeding, you're less. Or you won't even say it if you wasn't about being less. You're mocking someone. You don't mock someone by treating them as a king or queen. Or you might, but it'd be like a different quality of mocking.
Yeah. It won't be a
This
mock.
is
I'm sure it won't be a mock. Like even right now, right in Ukraine, this is happening. I wonder how one soldier treats the woman of another land when they encounter her. I mean, we take these things so lightly, but when it is that situation, how these words are used to shame, we don't even, and it gets sanctioned as an okay to do that. Because we are, yeah, it's, yeah.
And I'd also like to insist on the violence towards women, because again, when I was driving back home earlier, there was a bus and there was that advert at the back of the bus to stop ending violence against women, and there was that drawing, let's say, of a woman who's trying to protect herself from the man who was coming to beat her. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's a good thing. But then there is so much violence in our daily lives, and mainly through words. I mean, you can have violence in terms of your attitude as well, but violence doesn't have to be physical. And in the words we use, and in the words and in the energy, as you said, that we put in words, there can be so much violence. So yes, it's important to fight against physical violence, but it's also very important that people become aware of verbal violence. You don't have to insult someone to be verbally violent. Just like as Mega said, like saying to a man, like in Creole, who say to begin to rig, so you're bleeding. That's violence. That's but it's so inculcated. I mean, like inculcated, like so in us that we don't realize.
Yeah, and that sentence is violence to both.
Are you pregnant?
Or to a man?
Yeah, I've heard it so many times. Like, are you pregnant? Like, he's nauseous, or he's not keeping well, or he's moody. Like, are you pregnant? Like, what is?
I think it's time to question that back by the guy. What are you like? You must be off in your head to ask me that. Because you don't know who you're insulting. It's like to this whole process of birth and pregnancy, you're insulting just that process, because it's I'm just quite
yeah. And that reminds me also, Mega, you'll remember. So that was, I think it was after a cyclone or something like that? I can't remember. But there was that woman politician who was pregnant.
Yeah.
And I can't remember exactly what she was doing, but some journalists took a picture of her doing something you wouldn't expect a pregnant woman would be doing, but it was something good. And they had that quite colloquial expression to say that she was pregnant, like Zach d'entente, literally, like she had the jackfruit in the basket. I mean, and I mean that's a local expression that you can say that it's kind of a metaphor. That, I mean, I wouldn't take any offense if Mega told me what's happening. There's a jackfruit down there or something like that. I wouldn't take any offense. But the way the journalists use it, and that was shaming, and there was lots of people reacted against that, and I think they kind of presented apologies. But then again, it shows how people are not conscious of the words they use.
Correct.
And the violence that these words.
And when you say jackfruit, I mean, a watermelon is different from a jackfruit. A jackfruit, the cover of the jackfruit is very pointy and prickly. It's painful. It's not smooth as a watermelon. So when you're using jackfruit, you're crossing a double hit. It's like a
Yeah,
double.
true. I don't think of that.
It is
And
like,
it smells bad. When you open it,
It
it doesn't
smells
smell
bad.
nice.
yeah. So it's like,
It does taste good, but it doesn't smell nice.
And
yeah,
yeah, it's so instead of being, admirative of a pregnant woman doing things that she wouldn't be expected to do. And yeah, that's the comparison that came.
yeah. As I'm hearing, what I feel like when such things are said, we have to create a movement where we all jam that press or that company's email that saying that we have objection to this. Women and men, and I think just humanity has to start really taking. Today I wrote a post about taking things personally. I usually say one of my agreements is do not take things personally. But some things we have to take personally. Otherwise, we can stay disconnected and never feel it matters. So I think some things we have to take personally, and we have to respond in a creative way, in a way that is both creative, brings a laugh, and yet it's impactful. Because when someone is impacted that way, they can also learn from it than violence. So and I think to be able to do that, that means we need to start really learning how to hold our pain. Otherwise, we cannot do that. Yeah, if we are bleeding and we don't take care of our wound, we will find comfort in wounding others or hurting others and finding connection that way. We find because connection, we need to connect. In some ways, I don't know. Today I was thinking about this, even with this Russia Ukraine, what kind of way of connecting is happening here from the old ancestors. This is, you're hurting, you're inflicting hurt, and in that hurt you're trying to forge something which is for generations. It's just pain. So I think we keep come back to each one of us really learning to hold our own pain. And we all have pain of not being seen or loved or enjoyed. I mean, forget PTSD. I'm just talking about normal, everyday growing up as children and moments when we are not met and held and we had nobody, like we talk about violence. Like I want to say this, maybe, we can kind of bring this also into a closing. What I remembered, as you're all saying, is Dr. Gabor Mate. Some of the things that he always talks about here, especially when he talks about trauma, he says that the violence or the traumatic event is not the trauma. The rape is not the trauma. Anything very traumatic happens to us, if we have someone who holds space for us afterwards, holds us, rocks us, cradles us, washes our wound, stays with us, cooks for us, feeds us, and really loves us, it is built into our nervous system to find its regulation back. But even as children, when something happens to us, somebody said something to us, or we felt sad, who did we talk to about it? Who did we share it with? If we didn't share, then we made it wrong about us, or we did not know. Our nervous system did not know how to regulate. So we disconnect. So it's not the event that is the problem. The thing is, who showed us how to regulate back into a regular homeostasis of a nervous system, which is very much there. So nobody showed us that. So even if someone goes through rape or abuse, who did you talk to? Who held you? Who let you cry? Immediately today, becomes about, we go into a different space. We don't even give the victim the time to just sit and hug and, love them and feed them and, tell them it's okay. You didn't do, there's nothing wrong. Now, it's not your shame. I'm here for you. Nothing has changed for you. I love you just the way I loved you yesterday. Who tells that? That's trauma. The trauma is this. I think we have to keep remembering the trauma is not the event. We will overcome every possible adversity, we have those who really see us and tell us that, no, I'm here. I love you just the same. I see you just the same as yesterday. Nothing has changed for me with you. I love you even more now, I see you. I think that's the trauma. We don't have connection. We don't experience connection in our most adverse moments. And that's what we keep longing for. Right? That's something I think we really have to start becoming present to. Yeah, so because we spoke so much about violence and women, but it's always not just the event. So and then when we start connecting, so how do we create? Then again, it comes back to how do you create safety? Because only when someone feels safe, they can experience connection. So how do I create safety in my life, with my friends, with my children, with my spouse, with whoever I meet at my work? Do people feel safe with me? Yeah. And and safety has to do with tone, the nervous system, so all those things. I'm seeing this question mark. So maybe we'll move into closing, and I want to hear from you. I just went on, sharing that.
No, it's I think it's very interesting, and I've been having that reflection of violence in the Mauritian society, because I think it's so ingrained, it's so much there, and at so many levels, and in so many ways, towards women, towards children. I mean, you can see it, feel it on the road, road rage. I mean, I get called a bitch like so many times while driving, but then this coming back to what you were saying, how the traumatic event is processed, and how you have people around you to hold space. I think, again, observing what happens in Mauritius, I think it's also linked to identifying your emotions and knowing them and understanding them. And for me, it's linked somehow to emotional education. And this is something my daughters have had at school, which I didn't have. So when they were in second year of primary school, so they had a special class which was called ZP, but it was all about anger. So what is about anger? About emotions? So what is anger? What is joy? When someone passes away, how do you feel? And bringing children to voice out their emotions.
Wow.
And to identify them, and not necessarily to manage them, but at least for them to acknowledge, understand that they have emotions, and it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be sad, And I think this is so important, and I think maybe that's one aspect of it as well. How to deal with trauma. It's recognizing the emotion and acknowledging it and voicing out.
And I think that's what you said is very, very, very powerful. And how can schools really bring emotional education?
Yeah,
we children need to know that it's okay for them to feel any of these emotions, and also feel incapable of handling it.
Yeah.
They need an adult regulated nervous system who can help them soothe and help them regulate. So when they feel that, come to me, tell me, let me hold space for you, let me help you regulate, let me come back. Nothing is lost. Because when as children, when we learn that, we know that, oh, whatever happens, it will pass. My nervous system will know. You know that, you learn that, that's so true. The responsibility, and of course, it's also I think the responsibility is not just about the school and the emotional education, but it begins with parents.
Parents were invited as well. I think there were sessions with parents.
I think parents need emotional education, because even if schools have emotional education, it's nothing, because the child comes back home, the parents don't have it, it's all cost lost, right? So parents really need emotional education. We need to know, and we need to know to handle our emotions. So we need to know how to regulate ourselves. How are we going to regulate a child if we are not regulated, right? Our own child parts need to be regulated. Yeah. Yeah, but that's a great thing, I think, for everyone who is watching to um, reflect upon. And I want to end with a little story that I hear, Gabor in his sessions. He gives a story about this, the first book he wrote, I forgot, on children. He and his another very famous child psychologist, they wrote this book on children. I have it right here. I'm not remembering the name of it. So he gives an example of this. It's there in the book. The person with whom he wrote this book. So he gives his example of his child, of his son, who was, I think, at that time, third grade or fourth grade, and he was playing in the soccer field. He had a soccer match. He was playing the match, so he was there. The father was there seeing his son, and he plays the field, and he was coming out. So I think they didn't win or something. I forgot what it was. As he was coming up, there were these other boys, the older boys, who were trying to bully him. So the father is just going towards the son, and he sees this. So these other boys say, "Hey, you are so stupid, man," or something, "stupid dude," something like that he says. So father is, so he's talking about how, a child, so he feels like this, like he needs to protect his son. And then he hears his son say this to this person is, "I'm not stupid, I'm a soccer player." So the stupid word had no effect on him because he was already acknowledged by his family of his worth. So the stupid did not do anything for this boy. And that's when he realized, oh my God, my son feels this attachment, secure attachment in him. When he said this, and it didn't bother him. He said, "I'm not stupid, I'm a soccer player." So you see how he connected those two. It's like he did not, it was, so a child, for a child to, I didn't have that. Never had that. I didn't have that kind of secure attachment in my inside that, growing up, I can't say that I had that. I would have anxiety if someone said that to me. I would have anxiety, and that's an anxious attachment. I had that. But this child, it didn't flutter him. So how do we give that to our children, that they feel secure, that they already feel seen and loved and enjoyed, and that you are perfect just the way you are born here. To me, I am so grateful. How do you make a child feel that? That's my question to all of us and to all those watching. Does your child feel that? And how do you show up in a way that your child feels that? Yeah. What were you
I
saying,
just
Malini?
want to add that I feel most of the times as adults, we are trying to school our children, and there is very little love in that. It's all the time. It's coming out of a space of trying to make that child a perfect human being. I mean, adults are coming from a great space, but then they are not coming out of love, and it's showing in the children, and it's showing in the adults that we have today. There is so much. If cunt and truth and the F word and fuck and everything has become so common, I somewhere connected to the lack of love that is going around. And it comes, if the source is so important, then I think at schools and at our families, why is everybody so busy schooling the child? The child doesn't need so much schooling. I
That's
mean, we are not allowing the child to be, we are
yeah,
not allowing them to smell the flowers, but
right,
we are all being preachy.
right.
Sit up straight, you'll get a hunch.
Yeah,
It's not coming out of love.
yeah,
Don't eat chom chom chom. Eat like this. It's not out of a place of love. And if everything comes out of a place of love, then even if you call me a cunt, maybe I'll say, oh, thank you.
yeah. Very true, Malini.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
children don't need to be schooled as much as they are because they have enough schooling at school.
Yeah.
So when they come home, I think can we as adults just embrace them and
I think as soon as parents, someone is becoming a parent, they need to start going to school.
yeah,
I think children don't need school.
yeah,
As soon as you're getting a child, you need to go to school. And through the child is 5 years old, parents have to be going to 1 or 2 hours of school every day where they can self-regulate, where they have support their community. Leave children alone. Not alone in the sense, don't, it's like how you said, no, we are trying to perfect. Children are born perfect. And when we try to perfect them, like if I remember that, I always felt that maybe I'm not, not perfect enough. I need to do all these things. Then I would be seen as perfect if I come first in my class, or, if all these competitions I get, or if my this essay is graded, of my this painting, or if I draw this, then I am great. So I have constantly have to prove. But I wonder if I was told, yeah, it's how would it be, and of course my parents couldn't do it because nobody did that for them.
yeah.
They had it worse. I
Yeah.
see that. They gave me what they could. I don't know how they did that. I don't know if today I can speak about it. 20 years ago, if I had a child, I don't know if I would have been able to do the child what my parents even did for me. So I don't know that. So, but this is something that we are entering conversation. Who really needs education? The child or the parent? This is something that has to be something has to change. I think bringing a child into this world cannot be such a normal thing anymore. I feel it has to be the most thought, invested, responsible activity. It is more responsibility than being the prime minister or president of a country. We are seeing what presidents and prime ministers are doing right now. So it has to be even more important. It has to be the number one role in any country or on this land of being a parent, because that will give direction to this country, our planet and movement of humanity. I think that's what I'm sitting with, right now. I don't know how we arrived here, but
Sometimes.
when we arrive somewhere from reclaiming Cunt, we are sitting here and we're shifting direction of humanity. That parenting has to be like a huge. You can't just enter into it. It can't be taken lightly anymore, is what I very strongly feel. If you don't have the time, please don't bring a child into this world. Yeah.
Parents should stop. I've written about it like really some time back. Like, stop wanting for your child.
Yeah,
I
stop.
don't want that. I want my child to play volleyball or tennis.
Child.
Who the hell are you to even
Oh.
want for your child? Ask your child what he or she wants and then join there. Parents don't want to do that. I feel it's again like for me to ask my child, I have to be in contact with my own self.
Right. Yeah.
And then I can be present to my child and ask, what do you want? Maybe you don't want a volleyball. Maybe you want a library card. This is your thing.
Right. Right.
So stop wanting for your child, making your child a doctor or engineer, whatever. Just because you didn't get it, you're gonna give your child what you didn't get. It's never gonna work.
Yeah.
It's a new dynamic. It's a new era. It's a new age.
Yeah.
A child is something different.
Yeah. And it's high time. I think it's coming back to that we need to learn to take care of ourselves as adults, take care of our own unmet child pain and trauma. We have to learn to do that. We cannot put it under the carpet, or it is no longer okay for us to do that. Yeah. So so Cunt, I want to say that once again, bring the memory back to our piece. Cunt. Oh, Malini, you're muted. Unmute. Cunt.
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 So cunt and mother. Yeah, honoring cunt and honoring She who wears cunt.
Yeah.
She who
Cunt.
is,
Who
yeah,
I
the mother, the line, the womb, the vagina, the home, the beginning. Blessed be. Blessed be. Yeah. And tomorrow, I just want to announce to those who will come, tomorrow is we see the magic of Cunt. It is the most phenomenal piece tomorrow. So please join us. It is now, all the pieces are absolute delicious celebrations of being, of the vagina and the woman, and all the deliciousness of all the last 11 days are going to be woven together in the next two pieces. So you do not want to miss. And it is so interestingly happening on a Saturday and Sunday, so you can make the time. So everyone watching, please come with family and friends and create a watch on Facebook and join us in watching the Saturday and Sunday, the next two pieces. And on Sunday, we have an additional spotlight piece at 11:30 to 12:30 Indian time, where we enter into conversation with men. We'll be talking with 4 men. Yeah, so please. Yeah, yes. So we want to begin. I mean, they are not representative of whole of male population. I don't want them to have, they are individual men who are showing up there. But you know, it is to even hear this conversation, I think it's very healing and very, it's a beginning, you know, and not just vagina monologue, just being a man in this world, because most of the pain that we are talking about is inflicted or is responsible. Men and women both are, the most 99.9% of the violence is by men in the world, right? I mean, this is like, it's not like something to be hidden, it is a known fact. So how does that feel to also be in that collective, and how does being a man feel? It is quite pressurizing, I feel, for me, just for me to just hold that. How does that it is? So yeah, so please join us. We have a beautiful weekend coming up. So thank you so much. Sisters, you guys just stay for a bit. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to stop the live. Thank you guys. Have a beautiful evening. Take good care of yourself. And may the words of today evening bring curiosity in you. Blessed be.